continue to do that.
Now, perhaps another important area is, since we're talking about the Afghan peace process, there's another school of thought also that says that yes, it is very important that peace in Afghanistan means peace in Pakistan also. But even if there is terror, there's some problems, Pakistan can still exist and we can move on, we can carry on. But since Indian presence is there, so that is the actual problem, because that soil is being used against us. The other day there was this firing incident in Quetta, and so on. So like so many incidents, bomb blasts. Thank God, I mean our forces are vigilant enough to look after those issues, and we've been able to really contain that that terrorism concept. Things are pretty normal, alhamdulillah. But still, in the long run, all it takes is like another move by the Indians, another statement, some individuals, and then it can restart also. But still, when it comes to what Pakistan has to do, what Pakistan has done in the past, or what Pakistan plans to do in the future, so fencing, refugee issue, for example, so settling Sawat, looking after the affairs in the tribal agency, or now, as we call them, like districts. So, sir, we are moving in the right direction. As they say in Urdu, der hai durust hai. But is this enough? If not, what else needs to be done now, sir?
Had it been enough, then we would not have been debating this issue, because there is a problem, and the problem is of existential nature, that Afghanistan, whether it survives through these crises for the last 40 years without the foreign forces or not, and whenever the foreign forces withdraw, what will be our neighborhood, you talk of the Indian presence. The trouble has been there when Indian presence was not there. For example, Soviets came, they occupied and we were fighting. Then Indian presence right from the beginning of war on terror was not there as it is now, but problem was there. And you remember, the international community has not been oblivious to it. You remember General McChrystal wrote a report in 2012, I believe, and General McChrystal was the U.S. commander, He wrote a report in 2012, if I correctly remember the year, for NATO defense minister. General Saab may have good idea about the dates, and in which he very categorically written that if Pakistan's concerns for its security are not addressed vis-a-vis Indian presence, then cooperation from Pakistan is not guaranteed, So the understanding of Pakistan's concern has been there in the capital, and I'm talking of the U.S. commander inside Afghanistan, although he was later on sacked by President Obama, not for this report at least,
otherwise,
for other reasons.
Criticized
exactly.
Indirectly.
Not on this report at least. But I also, Faisal Saab, cannot forget what President Xi Jinping told Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the recent meeting in Beijing, that let's work together for the economic prosperity and development inside Afghanistan. India has been in pursuit of their stationing their troops in Afghanistan. There is no doubt. And again, there was.
But when they were asked, they simply refused.
No, sir. I remember there was a security conference in Germany, annual security conference, and Excellency Shiv Shankar Menon was their foreign secretary, or later as a national security advisor, and he made a statement in Germany in a security conference that we can replace, the US and other troops inside Afghanistan. If they are now saying their ambitions are there, they are providing training to Afghan soldiers, to intelligence people, to their civil servants. So India will definitely try to take the benefit of the situation inside Afghanistan. And you forgot to mention Kulbhushan Yadav, has been unleashed in Pakistan, and his confessional statements have been there, and that's why it was considered by all the stakeholders that Istanbul process should be started, which later on was called Heart of Asia.
Yes.
That all the immediate neighbors and the distant neighbors, they should sit together, each others' concerns should be addressed vis-a-vis Afghanistan, so that there is a consistent support for all the stakeholders in the region to support stability, peace, prosperity inside Afghanistan. But unfortunately, that platform has also not been able to. Then Russia jumped in, you know. There were 2-3 conferences. First were the officials level, then 12 foreign ministers were called in Moscow last December or January, maybe last winter. But still that process ended, because again I'll say the process has to be from inside, that the Afghans have to understand that this is their country. They have to understand that they are Afghans, whether they are from the north, whether they are from the south. You know, if the government was of the south people, the trouble remained. If the government is of the people from north, the trouble has been.
There, yeah.
Because the reconciliation or the talks on the tape process can move, and that's why the Americans again and again saying, sometimes he talks about the South Asia strategy or do more, but in the between line is that the Americans, they have come down from military suppression to reconciliation.
Political engagement, yes.
I think that's a major development.
So over a period of 17 years,